It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
Did you hear the news? Caitlin Clark has been named the Time Magazine's 2024 Athlete of the Year, and her interview is literally breaking the internet.
Caitlin Clark was just named Time's 2024 Athlete of the Year, and she gave her most vulnerable interview yet, even commenting on some of the most controversial issues surrounding her this year.
Caitlin Clark is finally breaking her silence on some of the most polarizing narratives that have surrounded her meteoric rise in the basketball world.
Congratulations are in order for Caitlin Clark, who has been named Time's 2024 Athlete of the Year.
Fresh off being named Time Magazine's 2024 Athlete of the Year, a title so well-deserved it feels like an understatement, Clark sat down for her most candid interview yet. And let's just say, she didn't hold back.
Of all the awards that she's won, this is probably like the biggest, and this one is, I would say, a surprise just in general.
Addressing everything from the endless controversies to her so-called rivalry with Angel Reese, Clark peeled back the curtain and let us see the human side of a player who has been at the center of the sports world this year. First up, let's talk about the elephant in the room, controversy. Caitlin Clark may just be the most talked about athlete of 2024, and not always for reasons that make sense.
So firstly, they asked about the controversies surrounding her, kind of how that made her feel. And this is what she had to say. She said, "I tell people I feel like the most controversial person, but I am not. It's just because of all the storylines that surround me. I literally try to live and treat everybody in the same exact respectful, kind way. It just confuses me at times."
Well, Caitlin, it confuses us too. For a player who has consistently shown grace, both on and off the court, it's wild how much drama seems to find her without her even trying. Whether it was a harmless gesture blown out of proportion, or the never-ending debates about her so-called privilege, the media seemed determined to cast her as some polarizing figure.
And as you guys know, throughout this entire year, Caitlin Clark has been at the center of so many controversies, whether she said something or not, whether she did something on the court or not, how the media ran with some of these storylines, and it ended up doing harm to not only her, but literally everyone else involved. And it seemed like throughout the entire WNBA season, Caitlin Clark was just trying to become the best basketball player that she could possibly be and win games.
That's right. Clark's focus has always been singular, to be the best player she can be and to lead her team to victory. That's it. But somehow, her every move, or lack thereof, has been twisted into headlines that range from mildly absurd to downright toxic. However, that's not the only thing Clark talked about. She also revealed her true feelings about her supposed rival, Angel Reese.
Could you imagine Taylor Swift at a WNBA game? I don't even know if she's ever been to an NBA game. So now let's get into some of the heavier topics of the interview. Caitlin was asked about Angel Reese and the whole "you can't see me" controversy that actually happened during both of these ladies' junior year.
Remember the infamous "you can't see me" controversy? Raise your hand if you're tired of hearing about this one. During her junior year, Clark's Iowa team faced off against Angel Reese's LSU squad in the NCAA Final Four. Reese's now iconic gesture sparked a firestorm of opinions, with Clark caught in the middle. In her interview, Clark set the record straight.
She said, "I don't get that at all. We're not best friends by any means, but we're very respectful of one another. Yes, we have had tremendous battles, but when have I ever guarded her, and when has she guarded me?" She downplays Reese's gesture. She said, "I didn't think it was taunting. It really didn't bother me. It's just like, why don't you talk about them winning or the incredible run that we went on that nobody would have thought we could have ever gone on? The only thing people cared about was this controversy, and that was really fabricated and made up, and then that has continued to be the case ever since."
And there it is, folks. Clark, yet again, proves that she's unbothered while the world seems determined to turn molehills into mountains.
Caitlin Clark spoke about the whole rivalry in the Time article, and she talked a lot about this situation. And it's funny because, like, she talked about it at the time, and even at the time, like 2 or 3 days later, she went on TV to basically ask people to stop going at Angel, and that it was just basketball and there was nothing of it.
That's correct. Caitlin Clark has clearly stated that she does not take this rivalry seriously. Sure, the media used the incident to drum up interest in women's basketball, but at what cost? The negativity and toxicity it unleashed across social media still linger like a bad smell. Let's be real, calling Clark and Reese rivals feels like a stretch. As Clark pointed out, they don't even guard each other. They play different positions, have wildly different skill sets, and are, frankly, on different planets when it comes to talent.
Like, they wear some of the best players in their team, so there is that respect. Amongst best players on teams, whether or not you like each other or not, there's always going to be respect between the best players on every team. And I think that's more so than anything the case. And Caitlin Clark is doing everything to try de-escalate the situation.
That's correct. While their names will forever be linked in basketball lore, Clark isn't buying into the hype of a rivalry that doesn't really exist. And can you blame her? While Reese has her moments, Clark is in a league of her own. She shattered records in her rookie WNBA season, broke the internet with her shooting range, and earned accolades left and right. Reese, meanwhile, has leaned more on her personality than her performance.
So we're gonna get even heavier when it comes to this next topic because race, of course, was brought up. Unfortunately, I feel like of all the things that Caitlin said in this interview, all the things that she was asked about, this specific section is still the one that at the moment is still going viral on social media. Everybody from every corner of the world has all of their different opinions on it. People are now arguing about what she said. If she said enough, she should have said it sooner.
Of course, no Caitlin Clark interview would be complete without touching on the thorny subject of privilege and race. Clark has long been accused of benefiting from white privilege, a narrative that has overshadowed her hard work and dedication.
She unfortunately has fallen victim to some of the narratives that still surround her because there is pressure. Her being a white woman playing in a league that is over 60% African American.
But here's the thing. Clark is finally speaking out on this controversial issue, and it's becoming more and more contentious by the minute.
Going on into the WNBA season, Wilson, a two-time league champion and now three-time WNBA MVP, told the Associated Press she thought Clark's race was a huge contributor to her popularity. It doesn't matter what we all do as Black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is.
Remember when A'ja Wilson spoke out against Caitlin, saying that she was only getting famous because of her white privilege? Well, Caitlin Clark is finally breaking her silence on privilege.
So then here is what Caitlin Clark had to say about all of this. She said, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of these players in the league that have been really good have been Black players. This league is kind of built on them."
It seems that Clark is paying her respects to the Black players who came before her in this league.
The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think that's important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate Black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
Caitlin Clark has finally spoken her mind, and she seems to be more than respectful in her approach towards the race and privilege issue. But believe it or not, Caitlin's words have ignited a potential race war across social media platforms, with many people getting upset at her recent statements.
It just makes me sad that she reacted the way that she did because Caitlin Clark is so talented, right? It's not like she was drafted first, got into the league, and they were like, oh, she was her privilege is what got her here. No, she held her own.
While Caitlin might have held on her own in the WNBA, there was no shortage of people accusing her, mistreating her, and even harassing her because of her unique identity. But now, Caitlin has set the record straight. She has paid her respects to the overwhelming majority, and she has even accepted her supposed white privilege.
Because in the same interview, Clark also said this, quote, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege."
And that quote, you guys, is the one that has been just all over social media. Everyone's chiming in. There are so many people that are saying, it's too little too late. She should have said all of this stuff 2 years ago. There are people saying that she shouldn't have said this stuff at all. Why is she not contributing her success to hard work? Why is she contributing it to her skin color? It's exhausting.
That's correct. There has been a lot of heated back and forth on this issue, and it is only going to ignite even more at this point. This isn't to say the conversation isn't valid. Race and privilege in sports are topics that can be worth discussing. But the way the narrative has been weaponized against Clark feels disingenuous at best. Clark didn't sugarcoat her feelings about how the media has handled her rise to stardom. While she appreciates the increased attention on women's basketball, she's clearly frustrated by the way controversies have been manufactured to generate clicks. The constant scrutiny hasn't deterred her, though. If anything, it's added fuel to her fire. It's a trait that separates the greats from the rest, and Clark is firmly in the greats category. So, what do you think of Caitlin Clark's comments? Is she handling the pressure like a champ, or does the media need to finally give her a break? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting updates from the world of basketball. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.